What's up, guys? This is Boondocks, and the other day my buddy asked me how exactly I would actually build Atlas if I wasn't just going for my over-the-top cosplay build for Saitama. Now, honestly, it's almost the same. The only real difference is I'd probably include a little bit of extra duration. And the reason for that is once you start getting into higher level enemies, you're going to want to have a way to prevent them from killing you. And in all honesty, the best way of doing that for solo is having a distraction. So by summoning your rumblers, and they'll go running off and cause the enemies to attack them. And because of that, it makes survival a whole lot easier while you can go around and just power fist motherfuckers in the face over and over again. So, real quick, we are going to still be using Landslide as our main damage dealer, though I have lost a good amount of top-end damage off Landslide. It's going to be made up for, and the reason I'm using it like this is so that way I can have more power duration. Now, you can substitute out a little bit of power duration for a little bit more efficiency if you so desire, and I'll show that in a second. As far as Petrify and Tectonics are concerned, though, Petrify, don't use it. Unless you just want to fuck around, in my opinion. It's really not worth the time of day, and Tectonics is good for setting up walls and protecting yourself, especially because you can dash through with a landslide and hit the enemies on the other side. So you can use this to wall off a corridor and protect you from incoming damage. As far as how I'm going to mod my Atlas now, I'm going to use the Steel Charge, of course, because I'm still going to be focusing primarily on melee damage through my landslide, and then Rush to kind of get around a little bit more. Now, if you haven't used the adapter to unlock the slot, don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal. It's just Atlas is pretty slow, so I want to try to speed him up as much as possible. In all honesty, depending on how I set this up, whether I use the prime continuity or even anything else, I could put in my max rush. As far as tankiness is concerned, Atlas is pretty fucking strong. First, his armor is ridiculously high, so I'm going to try to make it as high as possible using steel fiber and armored agility. Of course, armored agility is also going to give me just that little bit of extra movement speed, which is all the better. Finally, I'm also going to use a vitality just to give him a little bit more total health, and that'll let you survive a couple more shots and hopefully heal yourself up using some of the mods that I'm going to toss on my melee weapon. So, as far as my other mods are concerned, I'm only going to use a Blind Rage this time to try to get as much damage as possible. You could technically sacrifice out the Blind Rage and instead just use a Intensify. The call's yours. I want the extra damage. I'm then going to make up for the efficiency decrease from Blind Rage with a Fleeting Expertise and a Streamline. Now, the Fleeting Expertise is kind of annoying, but only because of the duration. And using a prime continuity, I'm still going to be over the max. And because of that, there's no reason why I couldn't theoretically swap this out, which would then require me to drop down to the lower rush with the current form I have on this guy. But this overall setup's pretty decent, considering I have so much energy thanks to my primed flow, but even a regular flow will do more than enough for you. So, as we can see now, that I'm actually positive, my rumblers are going to stay up for 47.25 seconds. In all honesty, that's a little bit long. So because of that, I will come back real quick and do some swap outs. Like so. Now, again, it's going to be at 70, which will give me 31.5 seconds, more than enough. And in all honesty, that's all you really need for him. And then as far as weapons are concerned, I'm going to bring a Vacor Merlock in order to pick off some of those faraway enemies, just in case, I'm trying to stay in a frost bubble or something, or I want to kill some enemies that are on a distant platform that are shooting at you and you just can't quite close the distance yet. That's why I'm going to bring the Merlock, because of the accuracy. But once you start getting in the middle of the thick of things and you run out of energy, that's why I'm going to bring along my Vacor Heck, just to blast the enemies and finish them off. A good alternative would bring the new Dexibaris here for the long range, and then maybe the Sonicor, so that way if you start getting really fucked up, thanks to like a leech or something that just drains all your energy right away, you can just Sonicor them and then scamper off to restore your energy. And then since I'm actually going to be trying to do damage this time instead of just fucking around and trying to make myself look as cosplay as possible, I'm going to bring a war. The reason I'm going to bring war is it scales amazingly well with impact. And that's going to allow me to use my collision force and heavy trauma to get perfect impact going off on the enemies. And then I'm going to use the Fury purely to use Life Strike in case I run out. Start taking some damage and want a health gate back up. One thing to note is that you can't use the Life Strike in conjunction with Landslide, at least not that I've been able to pull off. Another thing, I do have on a body count because I noticed that Landslide does increase your combo counter, but I'm not sure if that your melee combo counter increases the damage of your Landslide. If someone knows, please let me know in the comments, but I'm going to leave it on there just for now. If not, I might swap that off later for, maybe like another elemental damage mod or something like that. In the meantime, of course, I'm going to use Pressure Point and then the standard corrosive damage because corrosive damage is too fucking good. So as far as focus is concerned, I like to bring Zenorek just so that way it lets you spam your Landslide over and over again without fear of ever running out. You could bring Naramon, and Landslide will proc your Naramon for you. The only issue is Landslide has a really low crit chance, and even once you start putting on some crit mods, you start running into problems. The only thing that I'm not sure about is thanks to Landslide's AoE ability, you have multiple chances of hitting all the enemies, and therefore multiple chances at getting a crit, and then going into your invisibility. I have used Naramon on the Landslide build before, and it worked out pretty well. With that being said, I prefer Zenorek, just so that way I pretty much never run out of any type of energy. So I'm going to spawn a whole group of what would kind of be like a standard Grineer setup at level 100 and kind of see what's going to happen. So the first thing I'm going to do after jumping down is summon my Rumblers. And this is going to cause the enemies to start attacking the Rumblers instead of focusing on me. And that's going to let me kind of go nuts on them. And I apparently am lying. For whatever reason, my combo counter is like not sticking around like it was the other day. That's really fucking odd. And then it comes back. So that's almost telling me that the combo counter isn't applied from Landslide. So now that I'm low on health, I'll just run up to an enemy, melee attack them back up to full. That's why I want the Life Strike and Fury on there. And you can use this to pretty much finish off all the enemies really easily. I mean, to be fair, the last one was kind of a cheat because he just went flying off the edge. No questions asked. One last thing I do want to talk about, though, with Atlas that I didn't mention before is he has a really interesting little perk. So let's spawn a bunch of level 20 enemies. Technically, I could go even lower if I so desired. And it's all going to be scorpions, just to see what they are. Atlas does have a passive where, following the God Atlas, the immovable, I think he was actually a Titan, Atlas won't get knocked down. As you can see, the scorpions are trying to use their pole, and it's doing nothing to me. And because of that, he's really nice in missions where you can get knocked down. For instance, when they had the 1,000 cuts alert not too long ago, and the knockdowns were real, you could bring Atlas and kind of avoid those. I just always brought Interos because he was OP. Well, anyways, guys, that's how I would personally build my Atlas. So until next time, like, comment, and subscribe, and peace.